You're in.
Oh, no. I got it, don't worry.
Right, wait, get away, Lou.
Come on, man.
Yeah! Welcome to Gigantica. It is May, the fish have not yet spawned, so they are absolutely massive. I'm here with my bestest pal, Daryl. We have not fished together for 2 years, and Daryl hasn't been to the site for 9 years, so he's absolutely buzzing to get started. We're gonna catch some monsters. This is Thinking Tackle.
So, not long arrived, and Dan has just given me the walk round. We've been round to the Alamo. It's a big fish swim that I've never fished before. Definitely got previous form for doing the big uns, and certainly a swim that I've always wanted to fish. It's a bit of a last minute trip, but with so many big fish out there, I genuinely cannot wait to get started.
Gigantica is a super special venue. I couldn't wait to get started.
Ow! Reeled my finger in.
My oncologist has told me one bad burn can set you on the road to skin cancer. And believe me, after more than 50 visits to hospital in the last 6 years, I know that I'll never burn again. Putting Factor 50 on at first light when summer fishing is now an essential part of my daily routine.
Get out of there. So Dan has told me that the going spot in this swim is at 29 to 30 wraps, something like that. I've actually clipped up at 32.5 just to get a sort of feeling of what's behind it, whereabouts the spot begins and where it ends. At the moment, it's nothing jumping out and grabbing me. It's all what I would call sort of patchy. Slides for a second or so, and then comes back into a bit of chod. So I think I'm going to have to spend quite a bit of time just having a little bit of a feel round, because I want to be sure before I put any bait out. I want to pick my spot, get my bait out, and then be confident I've done it right. And that way, then if it's not working by the middle of the week, I'm not panicking thinking I should have done it in the beginning. So get the disturbance out of the way, be knowledgeable about what's out there, make a decision based on what feels best, and yeah, just take it from there.
I wrapped all of my rods at 28.5 wraps, knowing that I had other options if I decided to change later in the week. On the rig front, I started with 3 multi-combi rigs with a selection of different 12mm wafter hook baits. My bait is 50% maize, so a double essential cell match to hatch made sense. But in case something more standout was in order, I had some white squid infused salty squid wafters. For now, I was keeping my options open.
I've made the fatal mistake of running out of daylight and having to cast the rods out in the dark, which is never as accurate. So now I always cast first and bait up last, safe in the knowledge that the rigs are bang on the money.
Well, that is the end of a very, very long afternoon. Everyone's travelled a long distance, and you've got a marker up, you've got to get rods ready, rigs ready, and bait up. So to select the swim, basically I used the bailiff's advice. That they are the people to listen to on all these lakes. They live here, they see it day and night, and I've been on the phone to them during the week, and they said they're showing behind this swim, which is Alcatraz, and also behind Alamo, which is where Daryl's gone in. I cast out the marker rod just with a lead on the end, just to feel the lead hit the bottom, dragged it back a bit, there's no weed, and when I'm winding in, there's no weed on the lead at all. Just cast it around in 3 or 4 different spots at the same range, just to make sure. That's where he was getting his bites from last week, so it makes sense to start there again, and with it being clear, there was no need to interrogate the swim anymore. Now the mix, this is really important. Before the fish spawn on pressured lakes like this, particle is the way. If you're allowed to use particle, I recommend that is at least 50% of your mix. I've got 25% maize, 25% hemp, and then 50% pellet. And again, I've used pellet a lot here before, caught loads of fish over the top of it. The spot slicks up lovely when they're feeding on it, and you can find that it'll bring the swim to life when boilies alone or particle alone won't do that. But really, I just want to get a few bites. You know, I'd like to catch a few first, the pressure's then off, you can get into a rhythm and really build a hit.
I was using my tried and tested spinner rig on all 3 rods. with 6 inches of 20-pound boom crimped to a PTFE spinner swivel, a size 6 long shank beak point hook, made barbless of course, and a soft hair. After recently being mugged off on wafters on the underwater filming at Lac Luna, I opted to fish 3 heavy hook baits to see which one the fish wanted. All of this was fished on a running lead clip system, which I believe is much harder for the fish to deal with.
Alcatraz to Alamo, come in Alamo.
Good evening, mate. You all right?
I'm very, very all right, mate. Yeah, it's all gone swimmingly well. I've seen 2 over the top of me already. And the spot has just started to slick up.
Roger that, mate. That sounds sounds really good. How much bait did you go in with?
Well, I weighed it on my new Korda digital scales, and it was about 50 spoms, and I weighed it and it was 17.9 pounds, the same amount in that bucket, so a little bit more than I wanted to.
Hang on, because I just put 50 spoms out, so 17.9 pounds.
Yeah, mate, so about 8 kilos, something like that.
Yeah, roger that. So it felt like a lot of bait, but at the end of the day, there's a lot of fish in here, and I suppose I imagine it doesn't look like nothing on the bottom, but it felt like a lot putting it out.
Yeah, when you think, you know, the roach and everything in here will eat hemp as well, you know, it ain't going to take long for a group of fish to eat through that.
Yeah, mate, hope so. Obviously, the first bite is always the hardest, and once the old buzzer sings a couple of times, I feel a lot more confident.
It's the first day, everybody's getting out, there's loads of activity, much later than usual. Hopefully tomorrow, everybody will be getting out sort of middle of the day, and it'll all be done by now, and there'll probably be evening bites, I would imagine.
Obviously, not been here for ages, so I'm like naturally apprehensive, you know. I obviously never fished here at this time of year either, so.
I've got all that anxiety going on in my head, but that'll all lift with one bite.
You make me laugh, you do. You're Daryl Peck. Like, how many carp have you caught and you still have anxiety? Like, you are having them, I am having them. There'll be more out around the lake.
Lovely job then, mate. Well, be very lucky, and hopefully hear from you in the night.
Mate, you know there's no luck involved. You're either on the spot or you're not on the spot, and I am on the spot.
Okay then, mate. Be lucky. I am on the spot.
Lots of fish were jumping in the night, but no bites came my way. I'd put out 45 to 50 spoms the previous day, and that is quite a lot of bait. I would guess there is a fair amount of bait still out there, so I'd planned to keep my rods out all day. Most of the shows seemed to be a lot shorter of where my bait was, and as I was probing the shorter line,
Yeah, bread van.
my decision to leave the rods out paid off.
I wasn't feeling very confident at all, if I'm honest. You know, not a lot of fish have showed anywhere near where I've baited. Weather's pretty nondescript, not a lot going on. Yeah, one take on the first morning. Confidence in the spot has just gone through the roof. And yeah, I'm happy. Oh, Gigantica, we're back. It's literally right over the lines. Oh, I'd lost it there. Oh, it looks like a little fully scale to me, that. Oh, he's absolutely smothered in scales. It's not a monster, but it's a really nice one. Come on! Save that first one in the bag, take the pressure off. Ooh. Come on. Come on. Don't do it. That's it. Get in there. Yes. 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 Oh, look at that. That is absolutely lovely. Come on, get your POV of this. It is tiny bit over 31. And it looks like Danny's come and take my pictures. Lovely.
It felt great to get off the mark, although 45 spoms is a lot of bait for just one bite. As the day passed, without activity, I made the decision to bait up with only 30 spoms to see if less bait might focus the carp's attention on my hook baits.
To infinity and beyond. Let's go, Woody.
It's been a funny old day today. Started really weird. I was fishing locked up last night. Had a take this morning. I was still dozing. I'd been up half the night with single bleeps and didn't get to the rod in time. And basically it pulled the rod out the rests and the reel was stuck in the buzzer. But the fish was gone when I got to the rod, and it was only a few seconds later. 4 more spods later and 1 cast, went back out on the spot. I thought, well, I'm going to get another one fairly soon after, and nothing happened for the rest of the day. Put about another 20 spoms out today, just a medium size, probably about 2 kilos of bait, something like that. I didn't really feel like the fish had cleaned me out. The area wasn't slicking, there weren't fish showing over the top of it, so I didn't want to go in really heavy with the bait and overdo it. And then this evening, probably about an hour ago, I just had a few bleeps on the left-hand rod and then nothing occurred. And it could be a liner. That rod's going over the top of a little bit of a weed bed. Could have been a liner, but I didn't want to sit there all night and think, is it fishing, is it not? So I've wound it in, changed the rig over, put a slightly longer rig on with a braided section at the end. Put that out there with one of the little dumbbells again that I had the bite on this morning. And that went out first time. And since that's happened, over my shoulder there, I've seen 1 fish show just to the right of the spot. There's been a little slick come up. And I've had single bleeps on the other 2 rods that I haven't recast, which I think are liners. So it looks really good now for a bite there. I keep wanting to look over my shoulder and see if it's going to burst into life. I'd like to think we're going to get something during the night, and if not then, first thing in the morning. Bosh, got him. Yes. Nice. Oh, we are off the mark. Beautiful. So we are off the mark. 25 pounder on the left hand rod, the one that I recast just before it got dark. Slightly longer hook link, changed over to a combi rig on that one, and that has gone. We'll be doing the pictures in a minute when the sun gets up a little bit more. But basically I've got the 3 rods back out again. Unfortunately I picked the other 2 rods up while I was playing the fish. Unfortunately I took my eye off the ball and let the fish sort of move the other lines, and when that happens, when the bobbins drop back, you have got to recast. You can't just leave them out there. There's weed out there, and you know, you can pull the rig into weed and render it completely useless. Excuse me 1 second. Step in, out she goes. So the 3 rods went back out really nice. Couldn't have gotten better in the daylight, looking at the lines now, and I should have had a bite at first light. If the fish were out there in numbers and these central swims do get that kind of traffic. I should have had another bite. I'm trying to make it happen. You know, you imagine all this falling through the water column, the smell, the sound of the spod, you know, and obviously the bait ending up on the over the top of the rigs again. You know, that can be enough to get you extra bites. So I think that's a dozen of those now. That will do. And we'll see what happens. I've got basically 4 hours until midday to see if that gets me a bite. If it does, I'll keep on doing it.
Okay, well, I'm about to commit what is generally regarded as the cardinal sin at Gigantica, and I'm very much considering changing my spots. I've caught a fish at 28 rod lengths, but I've seen so many fish jumping between 50 and 80 yards out, left of where I'm fishing, some of them even closer than that, you know, really close in. I can't say that I'm not catching more because I'm not on the fish. There's lots of fish in my swim. I just got a feeling that I'm not on the right spot. My plan at the moment, I've got 3 ounce lead, just bare on the operated line. I'm gonna have a few exploratory casts on the line of where these fish have been showing. Not too many because I don't want to scare them off. And I don't know what my next plan of attack is going to be until I've had a little feel around out there. But after I've had this little feel around, I'm going to go back, have a shower at the lodge. After that, I'm going to have a little conflab with Dan, tell him what I've found out there. I'm going to definitely, there's going to be there's one, badoosh, a big change of plan. But and like I say, until I've had a feel around, I don't know what that plan is. Pan to that fish. Pan to that fish. Pan to that fish.
There he is, 25 1/4. And the best bit about this, it was grown from an egg on site. So it was actually born in our stock ponds, just at the top of the complex, moved into what we call D pond, which is by the house, which is full of little tiny ones, grown on to be above cormorant size, put back in C pond, which is the long pond, the more natural looking one, and then if it makes the grade, back into A and B to become a double figure fish, and then into the main lake. I suspect this one probably was stocked 2 years ago at £10 and now it's over 25. So the intervalometer is going, it's taking a few pictures, so let's go back round to there. There we go. Let's look at that one, nice, on the forwards. Nice. I like doing my own pictures where possible. One, I don't have to bother the bailiffs. Two, I get them exactly how I want them on the camera. I can hold the fish how I want them, get the background how I want it, the light how I want it. And if you use a digital SLR with a flip round screen and you use one of those intervalometers, it could not be simpler. It's still taking shots now. I'll just delete all of these, but I can just line it up again. Shot gets taken. It'll be perfectly sharp. And again, and we're done.
Oh, that's a better one. I've got a rod there. Got a rod everywhere.
Yes, I saw from over there, it looked like you were spomming short and spomming all over the place. So I've come round for a little gen up on what's going on, because I'm thinking about doing the same.
Well, obviously the normal sort of standard style of fishing here is 3 on the spot, pick a range, set your stall up, and away you go.
Yeah.
But for 2 days, they've been showing relentlessly between 40 and 80 yards out, all over the swim, 40 to 80 yards out. The guy next door has caught shoulders at 60 pounds, fishing 16 wraps, I was getting liners on my middle rod, so they were showing over my lines.
Right.
I was getting liners
Yeah.
short.
Yeah.
And I was just thinking, there's one, another one. So I was just thinking I've got to try, you know. I've got,
No, this backtrack. It's a dolphin show. I've done it to you now.
It's a bloody dolphin show. Oh my God, it's ridiculous out there.
it's a dolphin show. Yeah.
Yeah. So where have you selected your spots then? Are you all over the place, or you got them all together?
I wanted to fish straight out in the middle of the swim. Had a good cast around there. Found quite a lot of low-lying weed, fresh weed coming up, which is why I think the fish are there. I think that's what's
Cover and food. I would suggest. You know,
just
definitely.
there's something there, you know, on the
Right.
lake that's normally fairly barren. You've got fresh weed coming up, food there. It's just comfortable for them. So I've just panned out either side of where it's quite weedy and found the nearest clear spots along the edges of this weed at the right and the middle rod. I fished left and right of the weed bed at 16 wraps. The lead's not sticking. It slips as soon as I pull into it. It's not
It's a
rock
dull
hard.
thud. It's not rattling your teeth. It's a dull thud with the marker.
Yeah, it's mud. It's still muddy, like
Yeah.
clay sort of mud, but it's not sticking, which gives me a bit of confidence. I like that. And the left-hand rod, I've got 14.5 wraps towards the eating area, which is
That's a known big fish area. That is,
yeah.
mate.
So
And presentation.
all three rods are on combi multi rigs, fish with double 12mm essential cell wafters.
Right. And how does that sit? The two of the baits are off the deck, or
No, there's
is the point touching the bottom, or laying over?
The hook's laying flat, completely flat on the bottom, but
Right.
the baits are standing up, like,
Right, okay.
like a snowman.
Right, okay.
Fished over the top of. I've got a mix of sweet corn, maize, pellet, and essential cell 10
Bit
minutes.
of everything then. How many
Yeah.
spoms as well over each rod?
Well, I've got a right old mix going on. The right hand rod's got a dozen
Yep.
over it. The middle rod's got 25 over it,
Blimey.
and the left hand rod I put
25 middies, midi X's.
midi X's.
Right, it's quite a lot of bait then, isn't it?
Yeah.
And what's the thinking behind that?
There's a lot of fish.
Right,
Like-
okay.
Like, I've always found from past experience here, like they do like bait,
They do.
and I'm not here to catch one.
Good.
I want to catch a
Good.
few, you know.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
that's what I'm
absolutely.
thinking. I'm like,
And the left-hand area, how much you got over
I
there?
put dozen spoms today,
Okay.
so I've got a bit of different things going on. Obviously, I can still go back out to my long area if it suddenly kicks off out there. You know, I've put a lot of
Yeah.
bait there.
That will slick up and you'll see fish jumping, won't you, if they're back on it again?
Yeah.
You know. But it'd be nice to fish short up. Like I say, I'm going to have a good cast around in a minute. Wear mine in for the day. Just let that spot, sort of let them get around that spot. You know, with a weather like this, you know, there's definitely fish in the upper layers. I'm sure that's why we're not getting them as much. But they will spend some time of every day on the bottom. They
Yeah.
will do. And you don't want to be decoyed. I think there's another one.
Another one.
Bosh, mate, you're having them tonight, aren't you? Gotta be.
Well,
You're Daryl Peck.
if not, you're going to have to tag someone in for me.
Well, yeah, I reckon we can probably do that. I'm that cool.
Whilst I was back in my swim getting new combi rigs tied up ready for the evening, Daryl, or was it Lewis the cameraman, was in.
Pecky!
What are you doing over there? Whoa! Just nipped off to the toilet and left the camera guys with the rods. And would you believe I had a take when I was off my rods? As you can tell, I'm completely out of breath. But a really good sign to get a take at this time of the day. I certainly wasn't expecting to take till earliest, like early evening, in the night, possibly tomorrow morning, but not complaining.
When fishing short, I really like to fish with fluorocarbon where I can. I love that it's less stretchy than mono and that it's great for feeling the lead down. But perhaps its greatest attribute is how well it sinks, which is perfect for fishing with slack lines.
Boosh. Oh, excellent, excellent. Very, very happy. A Gigantica baby of 23 pounds and one very much for the future of the fishery. And a very, very welcome, you know, just moved my rods much closer in to catch one so quickly. It really bodes well for the rest of the session.
Daryl was now back to his usual confident self in the Alamo. He'd read the situation well, gone against the grain, and it had royally paid off for him. With my rods back out on my previous long spots, I spent some serious time interrogating areas on a much shorter line than I'd ever fished before in Traz. But in spite of my efforts, it seemed that the night was going to belong to Pecky.
Rudely awakened and dragged from the pit in the early hours of the morning. It does not get much better. Well, it's always very hard to tell, but it's definitely not a 20 pounder. Here we go. Here we go. Keep the old light on, blinding. Look at this in here, mate. Oh, that's a big fish. That's a big fish. Get in there. Oh yes. Yes. Oh. Yeah. Oh mate. What is that? That is a net filler. That is like, it's grunting underwater. It's big. It is really big. I'll tell you what that could be. Just by the shape, it could be pips. Well, I'm 90% sure that this is a fish called pips. I've just been on the website to look at some past photos, but it's in the 70 pound category, so I'm guessing it's done 70 previously, and being as we are in May, it is massive. It's barely fitting in my landing net. Wow, absolutely wow. 12 millers for the monsters. Look at it. Double. Little snowman. I'm a little snowman. Essential cell snowman.
It can be easy after such a huge result to forget about the rods and just get your head down, but it's worth riding the high and pressing repeat. With the rigs back out on the spot and the bait topped up, it's only then I can relax and get back in the sleeping bag.
Hey mate, up on our heads. Out of the water, innit?
Quite heavy on my head. Sorry.
69 and a half. I told you should have weighed it in the dark, didn't I? I just bagged it up. I just would do it in the morning.
69's good. 69's good.
Oh no. I got it, don't worry.
Right, get out of the way, Luke.
Come on, lad.
The amount of fish showing out here is, it's like a trout farm. I've never seen anything like it. They're going absolutely mental. I need to be making the most of this, because if they turn up somewhere else around the lake later in the week and I'm stranded, I'm going to wish I made the most of the opportunity while it was on.
And made the most of it, I did.
In you go. Bosh. Yes.
As soon as this one went in the net, my middle rod was away.
Yeah, baby! It's got to be a take, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. Would you like me to put that one in the sling, Master?
You can do.
Relieve the net for you, Master. Which sling would you like it in, sir?
That one. We could use that one.
No, that one's full of a big 70 pounder. I'll find one. You carry on.
Come on. Gosh. It's in there. Oh, what a mental morning. Nice relaxing week now, fishing short range.
Yeah.
Yep. Whoa! Well, check that out. Pips at 69.5 pounds, the biggest ever carp that I've caught from Gigantica. And the real takeaway is that it came short, fishing at 14.5 rod lengths. The fish were jumping very, very close in, and this is the result. I am absolutely buzzing. Oh, it's heavy. Should be, yeah. Yes. Yes.
It felt as though I could barely put a foot wrong. Even my wayward casts that were threatening to land short were good.
Oh no. Oh, she got there. Got there.
But as we were photographing this morning's 20-pounders, Dan had some news.
I am moving.
Really?
It was amazing to witness Pips over there with Daryl. He's catching them close. I've been baiting close here, but I haven't fished it yet. I did that yesterday. One of the members who could move into Stock Pond has kindly allowed me to move into Stock Pond. That was Chip. So I'm going to go into Stock Pond, swim, fish out to the point, and then basically fish there for a day or two. If I'm catching there, I'll stay there. If not, I'm going to carry on baiting close here so I can move back into here at the end of the week and try and snare one close. But what Daryl's doing is unprecedented, fishing at that range, getting that many bites, and I need to follow suit.
At Gigantica, you're fishing for bait fish that move around in shoals, so sticking 3 singles out almost never works. You have to commit to a swim, find a good spot and get the bait in. It's the only way to stop them in their tracks and draw them down.
Just when Dan thought he was catching me up, I was away again.
They are.
Oh. Okay, so it's blazing hot. Really wasn't expecting the take. Although there's been loads and loads and loads of fish topping all over me. But I was thinking it's going to be, I don't know, when the sun went down, when it cooled down a little bit, before I had a chance of a take. But they're here and they're obviously eating. Oh mate, there's fish everywhere out here at the minute. Literally out of hand. Here she comes. Come on. In you come. Whoosh. Get in there. Oi, oi. Fish on. Well, the second fish to come on the middle rod, and at £40.4, I'm not sure if he's a stocky or one of the older originals, but you know, after Pips this morning, I freshened everything up, re-spotted on the left-hand rod and the middle rod. There's loads and loads and loads of fish in the swim, and with 2 spots producing, I'm very confident going into the night ahead. There you go.
Okay, let's get these bobbins on. A new day, a new swim. I stood down here in the morning and watched the fish off this headland, and it was a joke how many were out there. Now, obviously I've had to do a fair bit of casting around with a marker float to find the spots and everything, and obviously bait up. So, you know, you can't avoid that sort of commotion, but with nothing happening at long range in open water in front of Alcatraz, it just felt that I needed to be somewhere else. You know when you're in the wrong place. But I've not gone really tight to the far bank. It might look like it when I'm casting, but actually it's about 15 yards off the bank, something like that. So I wanted to give the fish the opportunity to move around at the back of the lines and not spook them completely out of the bay. Now I've sprayed probably 2 kilo of bait, something like that. Chopped 18mm cell, soaked in smart liquid. They went out lovely. Chops just flutter on the surface and they spread really well out of the catapult. I've also put 10mm link out there as well, again soaked in the fish smart liquid, and then also some maize as well. And basically I've just chosen a range that's clear on the deck, but is just far enough away from that bank over there so I can catapult maize just to the back of the float. So I've put a little bit of bait out just before I've cast out. It's better to scare the fish away with food. They just disperse out of the area, you get your casting. If you just cast a rig straight in and they're all there feeding, you can spook them away and they may not come back at all. So if I do get action, I'm expecting it the middle of the night or first thing tomorrow morning. I'm certainly going to give it 24 hours in this swim, maybe 48, but I have baited in close in front of Alcatraz. I did it last night, put about 25 spoms out, just because all the fish have been showing really close in the dark. All the bites around the lake have happened close in. Lippy Common came off Coast Point this morning, 69 pound. He put a rod at 18 wraps, I believe, when he was fishing at sort of 28, 30. Put one rod at 18 and that has produced a fish. Daryl's getting them at 14 to 16 wraps. So the fish seem to be very close to the edge at this time of the year. So I can't do any more. I'm putting in maximum effort. Let's see what happens in the night. Well, I am astonished that I've had a bite as quickly as this. Oh, just tipped over the dorsal then. Hope that hook hasn't pulled. Powerful fish. The longest rod furthest into the bay on 2 grains of plastic. The other 2 are on boilies. Taking me right down the margin. Get in there. Yes, get in there. Yes. 2 days in the wrong swim, 10 minutes in the right swim. Oh my word. Get in there. Whoa. Right, rod back out before it gets dark. That's a bite. Moment of truth. Oh, he's big. 40 pound, 7 ounces. What a way to start in the stock pond. Yes. Yeah, man. Check that out. What a fish. Look at the length of it. Look at the scales. Mate, if this was in England, I would fish all year for this one bite, and it's happened in half an hour. It just shows you the effort of moving is worth it. If you're really not feeling it, and there's somewhere to go to on these holiday venues, and the fish have been showing, then get in there. What a carp. Look at that, I'm chuffed to bits.
It's a fine day, gonna be a fine day. Look at her, man.
Stock pond to trout farm. Stock pond to trout farm, come in.
Good morning, mate. You all right?
I am, mate. They've been all over me this morning and nothing has happened. Can't explain it. Must be the depth. But out in front of you, it's ridiculous, isn't it?
It is literally like a trout farm. They're just
throwing themselves out left, right and centre. Mainly the smaller stocky fish, you know, but there is a few bigger ones mixed in amongst them.
Well, I was thinking we've got 3 days left to go. Right, I'm going to stay in here obviously for tonight. But I was thinking for your spot, bearing in mind Jimmy next to you's had 2 again last night, and what might be a scrape of 50 and a smaller one. He's catching on fish meals over fish meals. How do you feel about trying that on one area, just coming off the yellow and just going on to the browny fish meals? I've got some great fish meal hook baits as well, you know, really doused up, and just try it on one area.
Roger that, mate. I've got 10 kilo of the house pellet that you've got there. If I could get some sort of fishy hook baits off of you and some fish oil, I've got 5 kilo of 10mm link as well. So I'll make myself up a right fishy mix and stick it on the middle rod.
Sounds like a plan, mate. I'll start glugging up. I've got some 15mm link round here. Do you want me to glug that in fish oil, or are you just going to do your 10mm?
Probably just do 10mm, but I could do with some. Look, the hook bait is what I haven't got anything like that with me. Everything I've got is high track. So if you've got, whether it's a 15mm link wafter, whether it's like a pellet shaped wafter, just yeah, some sort of fish that like match the hatch hook bait alternative would be good.
I've got 15mm barrels, so 12mm sausage, 15mm long. They're absolutely perfect. It's what I've been catching on when I've been coming in the summer and the autumn.
Roger that, mate. We'll yeah, I'll come round after breakfast. Cool, that's close to the old left dog, that one.
Now look at him in front of him.
Okay, so I've picked up the oily pellets from Dan, and I've made up a mix that's got the link boilies, the Parco pellet, the house pellet, which they use here in the stock ponds, and I've really laced that up with the mainline Foss oil. But you know, the rod that's been producing the most fish for me, my left-hand rod, I'm going to keep what has been working for me, and that is a 25-way split between maize, sweet corn, house pellet, and 10mm essential cell. So it's going to do 2 scoops of each. 1, 2. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. And that's been working, you know, so I'm not going to change everything, you know, just because you have one night where you don't catch a fish, it's really easy to panic and lose your head. But I do think the oily pellet option is a good one. I'm going to try it on 1 or 2 rods, but I'm definitely going to keep to what's been working for me as well.
We both fished hard all day. My opening gambit wasn't producing the goods, so I decided to switch over to pop-ups to see if that would make any difference. But as night drew in, it was Daryl that had the action.
Okay, so yesterday I decided to put 2 rods on what was my middle spot, and after Danny's advice I put in a good amount of pellet out, put 40 spoms, and I think it's about 3 o'clock in the morning. It was about 2:30. I had a line on the right hand rod, and then 10 minutes later on the middle rod, and then like literally I just put a little video on my phone to get myself back off to sleep, and it's ripped off while I'm still awake. So I've obviously found that pellet. Oh, get it! Yes! Get! That's much bigger than what's in the water. Wow! That's a good 40, that. A good 40.
Okay, heads.
Oh!
Yeah, baby. Another 5-0. 51 and a bit. 51 and a quarter.
Lovely.
Get you now. Nice carp as well, that, mate.
Yeah. Well, how about that for a mega 51-pound mirror? Wouldn't look out of place back home in the UK, this one. Came over the pellet, and at this point in the week, it's just time to press repeat. Another 40 spawns of pellet on the right-hand spot, and just a little to fresh up on the left-hand one. And looking forward to what happens on what is Big Fish Thursday. Mega.
It's fair to say the last couple of days have been a bit of a grueler. Started so well, moving into the stock pond swim, having seen all those fish showing off the headland, and having that amazing 40 pounder, the leanie, you know, within half an hour of getting out. Obviously after a load of effort before that to find the spots, get baited up, get wrapped up, move all the kit, it was a lot of effort, but it was worth it. And it was a real disappointment, I've got to be honest, when the next morning I had nothing else. The cast went back out perfectly. Neither of the boilie rods produced a fish, it was only the 2 grains of plastic. And then last night I moved the rod in close and really felt that it should have produced, and that slicked up all morning this morning and nothing happened. Now, whether that's roach eating the pellet that's broken down, I put 20 spoms of pellet and 5 of boilie out, but wound in sort of in the afternoon with nothing to show for me efforts. In between times the fish started showing out in front of here, out in front of Traz again, as they do. I'm back in the swim now, that was always the plan. For now, it has been a long slog, I am very tired. It's an absolute mission just to get pegs in, so moving all your kit, it properly takes it out of you, and I do understand why people don't move. But for now, I've got a nice Chardonnay from the Burgundy region of France, which is my favourite. I'm going to enjoy some of this. I can cast 16 wraps even when I've had 2 or 3 glasses, so just be on holiday and hope that something happens.
So although the baiting approach has adjusted throughout the session as I've tried various things, the rig itself, although I've changed the hook bait, the rig itself has stayed the same. It's the Combi multi-rig, 5 inches of 25-pound boom, a 3.5 centimetre loop tied with the inner core of the 25-pound dark matter braid, and a trusty size 6 wide gape. Wide gape's my favourite hook. The size 6, I've just got masses and masses of confidence. You know, like most people, probably using size 4s here, but as of yet, touch wood, I haven't lost anything, and yeah, it's just a rig that I'm ultra confident in.
To tie this rig, I first measure out about 10 inches of the boom material. I then take the same amount of the dark matter and strip the outer coating away. I fold this piece in half and push it through a loop of boom and measure it out on my rig safe 2.5 centimetres long. The tag ends of the braid then wrap down the looped boom and through the loop to form a 4-turn Albright knot. I then moisten and pull tight. As the knot tightens, the soft section should become 3.5 centimetres long. I then trim the tag ends and put a small piece of silicone tubing over the knot to neaten it. The other end of the boom I crimp directly to the ring swivel of a hybrid leg clip, so the boom section is exactly 5 inches long. I then thread on a prototype align-aligned kicker. I then pass the braid through the front side of the hook's eye. Then the baited micro ring swivel, and then passing the loop of the braid over the hook to form the multi-rig. Pull the loop down so the bait is in line with where the barb would be, and you're done.
Daryl was definitely getting it right now, and when you do, the lake can seem easy. In stark contrast, I was still searching for the perfect combination of spot, baiting and rigs. I chose to switch back to my trusted combi rig setup, incorporating 6 inches of 20-pound boom, a soft section of loop braid and a size 6 long shank beak pointed hook.
Oh, yes. Yes! Yes! Go on! Oh. Yes! Well, I've just been on the telephone to Dan, sort of dooming that I feel like I put too much bait out and the fish have done the off, and I've only had one bite in 3 nights until now, when the right hand rod has absolutely bust off. Started off with a few bleeps and then the rod tip just whacked down, spool was spinning, and as soon as I made contact with it, it's just off on a mega run. Just took a load, and a load of line just disappeared. It's finally stopped, thank God. I'm going to be reeling it in, not letting it swim away. Jesus. It's just literally holding at range, just not really running, not really doing anything, but not letting me gain either, just holding ground. It's a hard fighting stocky. Here we go, here we go. Get in there! Lovely. I can't believe he pulled so hard, Jesus. A 7 AM ripper in the fog, and at 38 pounds, I'm very, very happy. Again, like all of my fish, have fallen to the combi multi-rig, and at this stage of the week, going into the last night, my plan is to reduce the baiting level and just hope for one more bite. Lovely. Schnauzer.
Liners for Dan, but relentless showing for me. After the morning being pretty quiet, something like this was definitely a cause for excitement. I was due a freshen up of the rigs anyway, so I reeled in, got some new hook baits on, and got them back out there. However, I was sceptical about putting any more bait out. There was quite a few fish showing, and I didn't want to start spomming.
I still hadn't unlocked the code. It's the first time I'd fished the lake at this time of the year for maybe 10 years, and it honestly felt like I was starting from scratch. I reeled in, double and triple checked my hooks, and added another 30 spoms just because so many fish were showing close in as soon as it got dark. With the depth here, you need to create a strong food signal to draw the fish down, and in hindsight, I could have introduced double the bait.
It was the final night, and I was away. It was the right hand rod again at 16 wraps, the same one that went the previous morning. It had been a very active night, with fish topping all over my area. I knew my combi multi-rigs were on point, so this fish felt like an inevitability.
Look at the croc situation. Oh no.
Absolutely nailed in the bottom lip.
After yet another blank night, I was resigned to putting the week down to experience. But just when you least expect it, the Big G throws you a lifeline and, as usual, leaves you wanting more.
Yes! Get in there! Talk about leave it till the last minute. My God.
What a result for Dan, but my trip wasn't over yet.
Oh, we've got take. Well, as you can see, it's the final morning. I was amidst a very messy breakdown, just throwing everything down and trying to tidy it up, when the middle rod has absolutely screamed off. Can't really ask for much more. But he's gone cold, it's time to go. I don't want to leave yet. I've got a fish on that it could be big, but it feels pretty small. I don't know what it is. Hopefully you'll find out soon. But if it comes off, I might cry today. Just one more. What is that? What is that? Slowly does it. Come on, Lemonhead, don't do that. Yes! 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 Final morning, can't beat it. Yes!
There we go, what a way to end the session. £29, 11 ounces, came at first light. I put more bait in the dark because I felt I should have caught something, and I think that probably made the difference this morning. It's really good to get a bite close in Traz. I don't think that's been done for a very long time, and for me, the take home bit of information from this session is fish where the fish are. I fished too far out to start off with, ignored the fish showing in close, and I think if I'd persevered with this range from the word go, I think I would have caught a lot more fish. I am chuffed to bits, I've learnt loads, and I can't wait to come back.
First things first, the fish from last night.
Check that out. 34 pounds of leathery skin and wilted fins. Mega fish, this one. Lovely, lovely job.
Having had time to reflect on this session, I know I could have caught a lot more fish. Daryl is the master of taking a lake as it comes and fishing to what he sees, and I now know I should have done the same. I'm convinced these super riggy carp were getting away with it more often than not and clearing out the bait with none getting hooked. I went on to learn solid bag fishing on my next session, which made a huge difference to my catch rate. The new slow melt bags were perfect for the deep water, even in the height of summer, and I went on to nail some mega fish on this tactic. Using a 3.5-inch hook link and a running in line inside the bag is radically different from the rigs Daryl and I were using, and that's why bag fishing now dominates the spring fishing at the Big G. Personally, I can't wait to get back and use what I've learned on the latest underwater filming at Norton Disney, but that's another story.
And now the final one. And what an absolute creature this was.
What a way to finish. A fish called the World at 56 pounds. And the real take home message is, you know, normally at Gigantica, you'll often see us fishing over 100 yards out. But on this occasion, in the spring, the fish have been much closer in. I made a change, came back from the long range area, and it has really, really paid off. Lovely. Yes.